Last week, you found a cardinal beneath your feeder, motionless, no obvious injury, just gone. You've been feeding birds for years, trying to help them survive. But what if the seed you're scattering, the water you're refreshing, the decorations you've hung are quietly doing the opposite? 7 common items in your yard right now are slowly poisoning the birds you're trying to save. But here's what that cardinal was trying to tell you about the bread you've been scattering so generously. When birds eat too much bread, they fill up on carbohydrates and calories while missing the proteins, fats, calcium, phosphorus, vitamins, and trace minerals they need to build strong feathers and immune systems. Research on nutritional deficiencies in wild birds shows that bread-heavy diets leave them vulnerable during migration and disease exposure. Their bodies simply can't mount the physiological response they need to survive. That innocent slice you tossed yesterday, it's crowding out the natural food sources where birds would find what their bodies actually require. The birds in your yard are essentially filling up on junk food, leaving no room for the nutrients they desperately need. Inside your feeder right now, something is happening that you've never thought to check, something far deadlier than nutritional deficiency. When old, wet seeds sit in your feeder for days or weeks, they become breeding grounds for mold and bacteria. A sick bird leaves salmonella in its droppings. The next bird that lands on the same perch, pecking at the same seeds, swallows some of that pathogen. Within 24 hours, it's dead. Your feeder has become a silent killer, and the birds in your yard are telling you through their absence, their lethargy, the ones you find beneath the pole. That cardinal last week? It might have been one of them. Have you been checking your feeder for sick birds with ruffled feathers and lethargy? The telltale signs that salmonella is already spreading through your yard? Comment your answer below. Now, let me show you the third thing that's been hiding in plain sight. 2 months after that cardinal died, you noticed something else. Your hummingbird feeder was being abandoned. The ruby-throated hummingbird that had been visiting daily suddenly stopped coming. What you didn't know was happening inside that innocent red nectar you'd been mixing with such good intentions. When honey is diluted with water, bacteria and fungus thrive in it, creating an ideal breeding ground for candida and other fungi that cause deadly infections in hummingbirds. That natural sweetener you thought was safer than sugar? Honey ferments quickly, and the fermentation produces bacteria that damage the hummingbird's digestive system and immune response. Artificial sweeteners like stevia and Splenda are worse. They offer 0 calories, and hummingbirds need those calories to fuel their metabolism. A hummingbird's heart beats hundreds of times per minute. It cannot survive on empty calories. Your hummingbird didn't abandon the feeder out of preference. It was trying to avoid what could kill it. But 3 months later, you discovered something even more insidious hiding in that bright red nectar you'd been mixing with such good intentions. A hummingbird, taking artificially dyed nectar, may be ingesting the dye in concentrations far beyond what its body can process. When you dilute red food coloring into sugar water, each serving contains artificial coloring that a single hummingbird consuming its daily nectar receives in doses that accumulate in its organs over time. Red dyes can cause tumors, birth defects, and organ damage, effects documented in studies on long-term exposure in small animals. That ruby-throated hummingbird, weighing less than a penny, its heart beating hundreds of times per minute, must process these petroleum-derived chemicals every single day. The birds don't need red nectar. In nature, the nectar these birds consume is clear, not red or any other color. You've been poisoning them with kindness, one bright red drop at a time. Picture the pattern now: the contaminated feeders spreading disease, the nutritionally empty bread crowding out vital nutrients, the toxic nectar accumulating in tiny organs. Those signs you've been seeing, the lethargy, the ruffled feathers, the birds that let you walk right up to them, they weren't random. They were warnings. Birds infected with salmonellosis often act lethargic and are easily approached, trying to tell you something was wrong at your feeding station. Each threat compounds the others, weakening birds until that final moment when they simply can't survive what should have been sanctuary. The solution isn't complicated, but it requires commitment. Clean feeders weekly using a 10% bleach solution, 1 part bleach to 9 parts water, and rinse them thoroughly. Rake up birdseed, hulls, and fecal matter beneath feeders 2 or more times a week, and replace that